Podcast. I am your host, Jeff Wickersham, founder of the Warrior Dad Experience. I've got two sons. Jackson's 14, Carter's 13. I am a certified life coach, certified heroic coach, and just a practitioner, right? Of putting things into practice, putting things into action in my life, and then teaching, guiding, leading my family, other dads in my network, other dads through the Warrior Dad Experience. And I'm excited to drop this podcast. This podcast was a thought in my mind for quite some time. You'll notice on this podcast, there's no intro. Why? I don't want to waste your time for 30 seconds, a minute. Time is our most precious resource. When I bring you an episode, we're going to jump right into it. Obviously, I gave you a little bit of background on myself so you know where I'm coming from. I promise to deliver every single time I record an episode. I'm going to give you energy. I'm going to give you enthusiasm, and I'm going to give you an excitement. Why? That changes the world. And I want more dads. I want more leaders. I want more men to be the tip of the spear for their families. Society, what we're hearing out in the marketplace, what we're hearing on the news, on social, that we don't matter anymore, is total bullshit. It's just not the case. Dads, we need to step up and lead. Our children, our legacies are watching what we do, are listening to what we say, are absorbing the energy, whether positive or negative, that we give off every single day. I lost my mom to breast cancer 8.5 years ago. That was my trigger to become the human being, the man, the leader, the husband, the dad that I am today. It didn't happen overnight, right? That deep searing pain of watching the woman that brought me into this world leave this world changed me forever. The fragility of life smacked me upside the head with a 2x4. Through those days, weeks, months, years ahead, I went down that personal development rabbit hole. I chose to work on myself through personal development. It is by far the greatest gift that you can not only give yourself as a dad, but that you can give your entire family. When you carve out time to work on yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, in relationships, in mindset, the game changes. I've seen it in the dads I lead through the Warrior Dad Experience. I've seen it in myself. That's why I'm so passionate about it. Because every single day we get on this earth is a gift we will never get again. Dads, we only get our kids for 18 seasons. We need to be intentional on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis to be the best versions of ourselves in order to lead our kids, in order to lead our children who will be our legacies for future generations. It only takes one person, one dad, one Neo, as I love to always refer back to the Matrix, to change the legacy forever of a family. I challenge you, and I'm going to challenge you through this podcast. I challenge the men in the Warrior Dad Experience. I challenge them in my community to stand up and be that one. If you struggle to do it for yourself, do it for your children. Keep a picture close to you. Keep a reminder around you every single day that that's who you're doing it for. If you've struggled with challenges, with demons, with dragons, vices, kryptonites that are so prevalent in society, just know that I've struggled with those as well, and I'm on the other side. Talked about the matrix. I unplugged from the matrix. I never want to go back in. Through discovery, through working on myself, all of a sudden you see things with a different perspective. That's why it's so important to carve out time to work on yourself. So many times we feel like, well, that's selfish. It is not. It is the most unselfish thing you can do for you, your family. So incredibly powerful. So it could be as easy as meditating a bit. Could be as easy as getting a workout, committing to being physically fit. Could be taking 10 minutes a day to read a book, something that's going to trigger some thoughts. Could be listening to this podcast every Sunday morning. I'm going to release them on Sundays. Why? Nobody releases them on Sundays. I strive, and I want the dads in this movement to strive to be uncommon men in an all too common world. You get an episode on Sundays. Why? Sunday's a great day to prepare for success in the coming week. So many times I've seen, I know this is how I used to operate. Day would start on Monday. The habits, the rituals, the routines, the grind would start. Maybe later in the day, I would watch, listen, read something to learn and to grow. But what happens is you're already in the mix. You haven't prepared for success. Late, great John Wooden, legendary UCLA basketball coach. You know what the first thing he did for his legendary UCLA Bruin teams every year as they started? He had All-Americans, Hall of Fame players on his team. You know what the first thing they did when they started practices to prepare for the season was? He taught them how to put on socks correctly. I'll say it again. He taught them how to put on socks correctly. Why? Because he knew downstream, if they didn't put on their socks correctly, maybe somebody developed a blister in a challenging time or during the NCAA tournament, and then they might be out due to injury. He also wanted to make sure that his team knew details matter. And by doing those details, those small things, they were preparing for success. John Wooden's quote is, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. That's why I'm going to drop these episodes on Sundays. You can watch them, absorb them, get that little personal development vitamin for your week. And then the other aspect of it, and if you want to be uncommon as a dad, as a leader, as the tip of the spear, embrace that warrior dad mentality. You're not only going to listen, you're not only going to learn, but then you're going to lead. How do you lead? You lead by taking action. You lead by implementing it yourself. Great kind of difference to think about. Are you a warrior or are you a librarian? We have access to more information, to more knowledge than ever before in human history. It's not a lack of knowledge of why so many people, so many dads specifically, are stressed, overwhelmed, depressed, overweight, out of shape, can't get out of their own way. It's not from a lack of knowledge. Librarians just constantly read. They constantly catalog the knowledge inside. Warriors, who I strive to embrace every darn day. Am I perfect? No, but I do that more days than I don't. Warriors put what they learn into action. That's so incredibly important. That difference between librarian, are you just cataloging the information? Are you constantly in this loop thinking, I just need a little bit more knowledge before I get started? Stop with that narrative. It's not true. The reality is you'll never feel ready. The extremely successful people out there in the world, they understand that fact. They understand that conditions, circumstances, that feeling of being absolutely ready is a myth. It will never happen. So what do they choose? They choose to move forward anyway. They choose to take action regardless of that feeling. They choose to embrace that warrior mentality. That's why it's the warrior dad. We need to fight for everything we want in life. Whether we like it or not, we are in a daily battle. We're in a fight. And unfortunately, I see out there in society, in the world, too many dads just sitting on the couch and not throwing any punches. Through this podcast, through my movement, through the Warrior Dad experience, here's what's happening. Dads are getting back on their toes. Dads are getting back on the attack. Dads are starting to throw punches. When you do that as the leader of your family, and this has been the most amazing part of the transformation for myself, my two boys, and my wife. When you lead by example, and this is the last lesson tidbit of knowledge I want to leave with you today as we kick off this first episode of the podcast. When you lead by example, when you show up consistently day in and day out, when you're accountable to what you say you're going to do, you actually do what you say you're going to do, and you bring a huge amount of energy to the equation, your family, they start to follow. Doesn't happen overnight. Took years of consistent practice for myself. I shared with my family what I did, how to bookend my days, talked to them about meditation. I'm almost at 2,000 straight days of meditating at least 10 minutes a day. This year and recently, there's been a shift in my family. Now we are connected almost like a sports team, where not only am I, as the dad, as the leader, as the tip of the spear for my family, on my toes attacking, now my wife is. Now both of my sons are. Getting up before school, working out, putting in some reps, getting some dribbling drills done, bookending their days, journaling, feeling good about themselves. It is amazingly powerful. And so many times I used to own a gym, personal training, nutritional coach background, used to own a gym. And I know this happens in so many families where one person, one parent is interested in growth. They attempt it, they try it, which I can't stand that word. We'll dive into that in future episodes. They do it for a bit, but then that pull of the other 3, 4, 5 family members is too strong. Dads, as leaders, as the tip of the spear, as the heroes of our family, we got to have strength for all of them. We got to stay consistent, accountable, bring that energy. We got to lead by example. over time, I guarantee you your family will follow. I see it in mine. And it's a game changer. Dads, it is an absolute game changer. It will give you such a joy and deep fulfillment that it will inspire you to even go more. You will see it in your kids and your wife, and it will inspire you to push even harder, to get 1% better every single day. That's what this movement, that's what this podcast is about. Giving you these tidbits, this fire, this energy, this excitement, this enthusiasm to lead by example for yourself and your family. Gentlemen, dads, your kids are watching. They're absorbing everything you're doing. If you've battled demons, dragons, kryptonites, vices, we all do. But if you don't change something, if you don't start taking action, adopt that warrior mentality, your kids are going to suffer the same fate. They're going to have to battle those same demons and dragons that you have yet to slay. Think about that the next time you're facing a difficulty, a challenge. Can you rise to the occasion? Not only for yourself, but for your kids. Because you can lead them, you can guide them so they don't have to go through those difficulties. They're going to face hardship and difficult times in life regardless. One of my mentors, Phil Stutt, says, hey, we can't escape hard work, uncertainty, and pain. Those are three things we cannot escape in life. But if we get up on our toes, we're on the attack, we're throwing punches, that is an amazing way to live. I appreciate you joining the first episode of the podcast. Please subscribe, share it up with another dad in your network. This is a movement of dads, of men, of leaders who want to be uncommon in an all too common world. They're family focused, they're growth minded, and they want the best, not only for themselves, but for their children, and to build a legacy that will last forever. I appreciate you. Love, lead, legacy, create a legendary day, and I'll talk to you soon.